Okay, so let's begin. We're at 10:05 right now. So thank you to all that have joined us so far. My name is Caroline. I am on the Davyn sales team, and I would like to welcome everybody to our webinar today, Selling More with eCommerce and LSRetail, which will be presented by our business analyst, Joseph Woodruff. And at this time during the event, you can use the dedicated question area, and we will be answering your queries throughout the session. But if the team's input is required further, we will reserve those queries for the end of the presentation. And also, due to inclement weather, as everybody knows, we will have a very limited attendee count here, which is understandable. And today's session is also being recorded, and we will be sending it to all attendees in the coming days as well. So you can always feel free to forward that to your staff members as well to review. And at this point, I'll hand over the floor to Joseph to get us started. Whenever you're ready, Joseph, you can take it away.
Hi, good morning, guys. You'll hear me fine? Just making a check.
Perfect.
Okay. Let me just get my presentation up and ready. All right. Give me a sec. All right. I got it. All right. Crap. Let's just switch it. You open the presentation, right?
It just went dark there. Try the direct share maybe, if it works for you.
But I just had multiple screens open and well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing your screen now.
Yeah, hold on.
There you go.
Okay. All right, good morning again. Sorry about the little technical difficulties. Dealing with multiple screens sometimes. Teams isn't really friendly with that. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is Magento and its integration. LS Central and its integration to Magento. I'm Joseph, as Caroline would have introduced before. And without further ado, let's just get started. All right, so today we're going to talk about selling more with Magento and LSRetail. Basically, what this is about is just basically showing that we have a connection between LS Central and Magento that allows you to have an online platform or online presence so that you can extend your business even further. All right. So what is LS-Commerce? Well, simply put, it is just a service that exposes a bunch of API, or basically it allows communication between on LSRetail and a central database with your online presence, or in terms of whether it be Shopify, Magento, or Dynamic Web. Now, we chose Magento simply because of its popularity in the market right now. Right? I mean, Shopify is growing pretty quickly, but there is a lot of constraints for that. So we chose to go with Magento. All right, so that's what this whole demo is about. So what it is really, so basically you start off with your LS Central implementation, right? As I said, the LS Commerce, well, in this case, it's called an LS Omni Server, but technically it is the LS Commerce service you're using, right? And in between that, there is this connector that allows you to connect to LSRetail that exposes this e-commerce API that hits Magento, right? And that is basically the infrastructure that we're going for, all right? So your data is actually stored here, and basically it is communicated to and expressed on Magento's website. There are some things that need to happen, but during the demo, we'll just touch on some of those things that need to happen to transform your data to be, available online. Okay. So let's go on. All right. So let's just jump into the demo. Now you have to excuse me. I prepared for 3 screens, but now that I'm limited to 1, just give me a second. All right. So let me just minimize that. let's jump into my browser first. All right. Okay. So what we're looking at here, let's just go to the dashboard itself. All right. This is the back end of Magento. This allows you to see what takes place on Magento itself. So what we have here is a small dashboard as to what occurred, all right, or what happened on the site itself. But this is really relatively static. What we're really going to be talking about. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. So let me just kind of start with this. We're going to talk about is really the LSRetail, right? So LSRetail, this is basically the application or the extension, I should say, that allows us to communicate with LS Central or our data, right? What we do have is a listing of a con list, which is a Magento term of all the replicated data, right? And these are the data that we are replicating. So we have item, we have prices, inventory status, barcodes, and it's basically a couple of things, right? So you can go through this. You can always touch back on this another time if that's a question, but there's a lot of data that is being expressed or replicated across, all right? And we can always check the status of it to make sure that it is replicated properly, or even retrigger a replication by using the execute. This will already clear the table and just restart it, or a simple reset to, just reset anything that was, communicated recently, or just, so what will happen is the last execution time change, all right? That will be all the thing. And then basically what we can do is look at our item replication status. We can actually click into one of them and see how a table is being updated, right? As you can see, this probably was the last thing that was updated recently, right? And actually, because it has a filter. So if I did remove the filter, I will be able to see everything that I have here, all right? So you basically see what items we have replicated. Now, don't be alarmed. Basically, this is just this is something that is actually tied to LS Central, and we'll probably just show you. I'll give you a quick idea as to what happens in LS Central, how you can generate this for yourself, so you'll be able to see how that works. Because this really is just a description of the item itself, right? And we'll just kind of go through that when we touch LS Central. What else can I talk about up here? If I go to my LS configuration, this is basically where I basically manage my configurations of what I want to happen on LS on the Magento site. I can basically set my back sizes. If I want to replicate all items from the stores, I can, but in this case, we set to no, and the reason for that is to kind of truncate or put a subset of our items online, so that we wouldn't have, especially if you have multiple items and you just want just a subset just to get that presence online, you can do that through this setting. Also, you can manage it through, there's actually a bunch of ways to manage it, and we can probably discuss that as we go on with the presentation. All right, we can turn on item availability. Basically, what this does, it uses inventory lookups to look up your actual inventory in real time, so that we can see what item is in what store. All right, so you could turn it on or off if you choose to see fit, but it's recommended to turn on. Right, this is a loyalty element. We basically suggest that you use all. You can use coupon offers, all these different elements of loyalty. So that's something that you can look forward to with the e-commerce implementation. You have access to gift cards. Now, you can't sell gift cards online. What you saw earlier probably was, if you joined in while I was trying to get things in place, basically was me setting up a gift card to try to sell it online. but the system itself doesn't really sell gift cards. It basically allows you to redeem gift cards online. So if you purchase a gift card online, you can, if you purchase a gift card in store, sorry, you can use it online. We're still looking at exploring a way to sell it online. So that can be something that we might be getting within the near future. Now, LSRetail, or LSRetail, sorry, did mention that they are investigating methods to do it. So it may be a future release, upcoming, right? Discounts, we are replicating discounts from LSRetail into Magento as well, right? And you can see, I could just give you a quick preview of some of the cart rules we have. So we have price rules, some price rules here, right? That are active. And we can't really drill down to see what it is about here, but we can see once we define it in an essential, we can actually go through these codes and see what they do. All right. But I think that should cover my general back office presentation. I don't think if anyone have any questions right now, feel free to ask before I jump across to something else. All right. Okay. So bear in mind, I can't really see the if you raise your hand, I wouldn't see that, right? So at this point in time, because I don't have the screen up at all. So let's jump across to what the front end looks like. All right. So basically, what happens is that, and I can just give you these little pain points, or the little points that occur, not pain points, sorry, but the little things that happen with your data when it's translated, right? So to create a menu in LSRetail, in Magento, basically what we use is the hierarchy. And let me just jump back to the back here. If I go to my catalog, right, and I look at my hierarchy, or basically my tree structure here, this is defined as a hierarchy in LSRetail, and I'll show you that shortly. And as you can see, each of them have a set of numbers assigned to it. This basically states how much items are assigned to that item that actually have stock in them. Because what we have turned on right now is actually only show stocked items, sorry. So items that have stock or inventory will be shown on the website, right, or replicated to the website. Now, if we have no stock, then technically, it would not show any stock at all. If we will be able to show it, but we won't be able to sell it. All right. So this is basically a tree structure, or something called a hierarchy in LSRetail. All right, and that is translated directly as to your main menu. Right. So I would say anytime you're looking to do something like this, what you have to do is sit down and put some effort into designing what you want, or what you want to look at, what you want to see as your first impression on the website, right? Okay, so we go down here. Furthermore, what we have here is basically a team. This team is provided by Portal, and there are different versions of the team. You can, just any team is fine. It's just that we work with Portal, and it's pretty much simpler to work with. And also we do have something called a page builder Magento has an extension called the page builder that allows you to even design your front page even further, like using widgets and whatever the case may be. So that's something else you can explore as well. All right. So what we do have is a bunch of categories, as stated on top here. They're kind of replicated as well, and this is configured through the portal management, right? It's a little bit scary if you never worked with any content management system before. And there are a lot of options to change, a lot of things to do. And these are the different sites we can actually use. All right. So it's kind of technical for anybody who's a newcomer to it. But once you have the hang of it, it's pretty straightforward. All right. So basically, we have a men's selection. We have and affiliate connection. Sorry that they're both the same. I didn't have time to configure everything. And then we have our featured products. We could have set it up to be bestsellers, new products, whichever the case may be, right? We can do that on this screen. So this is basically a design. Anyone who has a finesse in designing, I think will go to town with this. I'm more technical, so my design skills may not be at top tier as someone who's actually in the marketing scheme and who wants to see things put in a specific order, right? I can do the specific order, but guidance is always welcome. All right, so let's just now. So this is basically what you see. Let's just look at a product so you get an appreciation of what it is. So this is your product page. You have your attributes, your product attributes, right? This is also stored in LSRetail. Your items and the images, both of which are stored in LSRetail. All right, so let's just look at one of them. All right. So you can see that we have some description of this. This data here is not, as anyone who is familiar with LSRetail knows that there's no way you can actually store all this data in your description field. So there is something special or unique to how to put it, to Magento, or not Magento specifically, but to the omni-channel to express your descriptions on the website. There is a specific method to do so, right? More information is related to your attributes and reviews. Well, this is a feature that is online that allows you to manage your reviews. So someone can do a review and you can manage it through your administrative console. Your images is your retail images. These at the side here are basically tied into Magento itself. All right. Your sizing, product size information. All this is product information, availability in store. This allows you to check, which we discussed in the background, allows you to check to see which store has it and if it is available. I think I have it logged. Okay, just looking. See, it's actually stored in these two locations, right? I didn't make it look out. Should have, but didn't. So yeah, we can do that probably for the next demo or something like that. Okay. So let's kind of like go through some of the motions in Central. So let's kind of just touch on some of these things before we even go to creating orders and seeing what that looks like, right? So in LS Central, right, what we do have, let's just look up an item so we can compare the two. Right, so I'll say 4,000. Oh, sorry. Right. So this is one of the items that is actually on the website. If you notice, let me just pull up the item as well so that you can have a comparison. But yeah, let's record that over the number 9. Maybe it's one out of stock, sorry. Let me just look up another item that is actually in stock, sorry. It's 482. As you can see, that we actually do not have any, we can't see the description that matches what is on the site. All right. The description is totally different. right? So what has to happen? What has to happen is actually we store the description itself as a item HTML, right? Doesn't that scare you? Basically, you can type in raw text to get, you know, to get a preview. However, just by using, for instance, if Spark Family, this is something that we will not encourage because we want to let the website itself govern that. So basically, you just put in, you could probably use the H1 tags, which is header tags. So a little bit of HTML is needed to understand it, but it's not necessarily needed. It's only if you want to really style your data to make it look a little more presentable. Your descriptions, I should say, not your data, your descriptions.
I have a
Right?
question. I have a question. Is it just the data for the text only here, or is this for image too?
This is just for text.
Okay,
just
cool. Okay.
Right. Great. Right. So this text data, once filled in, you will basically get this representation on the site itself. Right. Now, that is just for this. I'll just give you details. Now, and I know, don't be worried. This is not static. Once you decide to go with this, you can actually conform this to actually put the details up here or however you want to see it. I mean, that's all a team design or a team choice. This is just basic Magento style in itself, right? So it's something that is not static. All this is page design. Okay, so don't be worried about the placement and stuff. All right. Right. So let's continue with the connections, right? So, or what is what in LSRetail. So let me go back to my PM. Right. Copy LS your information for your description. Your images itself. If I go back to my related, I go back to my images. This is basically where my image comes from, right? It's basically tagged into my retail images. And this is the link that exists for it. So if I actually go to this image itself, right, you'll basically know that this is actually tied to that specific image that we are seeing online. Now, this is what is only showing one, but we can actually have like a list of images which will allow us to then see how to put it, a running catalog, so we can have multiple views of this specific dress, right? So it's something that we can set up. It's just a matter of how we categorize it, right? And how we list it out. So it will go in a specific one and stuff, right? So that's that. Okay. We're talking about the unit of measure. This is something that can turn on if you want to turn it on. This is specific to this is specific to if we want to have different units of measures by a product. If we do if we sell like a specific piece or we sell a case of something, we can do that. Like if you want to buy a Coke, a single Coke, or a case of Coke or something like that. We can turn it on and off. In this case, it is actually turned on just for demo purposes, right? We can turn it off. It's something that is not specific or is automatically turned on, right? Right. So if you notice that variant is something that is actually used and variant images as well, right? So right now the only item is blue, unfortunately, but we can choose different sizing and stuff, right? So it does replicate down to variant images as well, variant items and images as well. All right. So that is something that I just think I need to point out. All right. Let's see what else I need to. Right, so we're talking about the attributes. Attributes are pretty important because that's how we basically manage the filtering of items online. And you can see we have a couple of attributes here. And you can see that it is actually matched to the, let's see, sorry, I just keep getting confused with the amount of tabs I have. But you can see that we have the same matching attributes, right? On the as well on the site, right? So attributes are important to help you filter for items. You can, so if I was supposed to go back to my this line, I actually have the ability to actually choose what type of fabric I want based on what I'm looking for. So if you define these pretty well, chances are that you're going to have a really good a really good search and experience. So that should take care of mostly the items, right? There are probably other things that we could talk about, but I mean that should be general. Generally everything. Okay. The prices are basically the same. We replicate the prices. Now, if there's a price rule, or if there are sales, that's something that are actually managed by discount offers or something like that. Or as we mentioned, discount offers, I can quickly show you some of the discount offers we had. If you notice, we had some of the offers actually replicated as well. If I go back to my configuration, I go to my marketing, my price rules, you can see that I do have, so I hate this thing. All right. That's fun. That's fun. Do have, let me just see if I could just open the website inside this so
If anyone has any questions too, please feel free to ask. Don't be shy.
yeah. Sorry, I don't know if I'm going too fast for everyone or if everyone is fine.
Mhm.
Right. Right. So I'll just try to not switch across so much by just using everything on one specific place. All right. So yeah. So what we're going to do is basically show the casuals. All right. So we have P1060, and you'll see P1060 here. This is a demo. Sorry, this is a demo in June's sales rule. So we get 50% off on these two specific items. All right. Whether the items have products in them right now is another story. This is a demo site, so I probably would have sold out all without replenishing it. So I do apologize for that. But there is other rules that we can test. Okay. Okay. So let's go back to let's go into the site itself. So with that, I think we would have talked about the majority of everything here. We actually use something called if I look at the scheduler, before we go further, there are three specific jobs that actually replicate our data, right? So this is the init. This basically allows us to trigger everything. So this communicates with the Omni service. So when we run this, it compiles it. The code unit runs and communicates with our API and sends this data across, right? So basically, this is our master job then. This is our inventory job, which basically allows us to make sure that our inventory data is up to date. Now, it does use API communication to validate if the inventory is correct, but this is basically like if we replicate a new item and we want to set that static flag for inventory, all right? But it will be updated. It does communicate. It does look at LSRetail to verify if the inventory is available or not. So, that's just how it works. It doesn't sell without inventory. All right. And then we have, this is basically an update just in case, we have minimal changes or we make some changes and we want to reflect it on the website. This is something that will be run, relatively frequently. So this one would technically be run by the day, and this one would be most likely run by the minute, right? Or a couple, yeah, basically by the minute, I would say. Right, this one will probably run, by the minute as well. So that's basically what these jobs are. Okay. All right. So without that, let's just kind of like jump into the whole system and see how it works. So let me first of all sign out. Right. Let me first of all sign in. Right. So at this point in time, I could actually create a user or sign in, like any typical website. Now, the thing is, if we create an account, basically what it does is actually create a loyalty account number in our system, right? So if I go into my, and you will see me frequently switching between Central and the Magento, just to give you a kind of experience as to what happens in the background, right? So if I go to, sorry, .com. Right, right. So I do have a couple of accounts, but the one we're focusing on, basically these up here. So I'm going to be logged in. Although I'm Joseph, I can't remember the account credentials, and it's too much process to go in and do it right now because this is a testing account. So I'm just going to use Greg Chi as my user today. All right. So let's just go in. So what we did is essentially when we log in, what happens is that our password doesn't mean is not stored in Magento, it's actually stored in our central. So what happens, and it is encrypted, so we can't really see it. But what it does is basically authenticate that this user, Greg Chi, is in fact a member or a member of our accounts, and his password somewhere stored in Magento, no, sorry, somewhere stored in El Central, is valid, right? So once that happens, we log in. If it fails, what would have happened? It will tell you the account doesn't exist in. For instance, we could test it out, because I'm very sure that I cannot remember my account. Sorry, right? I didn't find it, and this basically is a central message telling you that the account doesn't exist, right? So that is something. Now we can basically use forget password and do a password recovery setup. We can do that. That is something that exists already, and it actually integrates with Magento. So I can probably do a test. So for instance, this test user, because I think let me just check something quickly. I think my account for this is a different password if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so you see, that's why it didn't work, right? Because I do have a change my account and stuff, right? So that's something that can happen on the back end. So on the back end, we have the ability to manage it. So I would say anytime you have someone, this is something that you will want to restrict with permissions, okay? What they can and cannot do, your customer service person, that is. All right, so let me just do a quick, let me just use this test account. Since I kind of, right, so you can choose the test.com. Well, if I use the forget password, what it does is allow me to put in my username again, and type in that and basically reset my account. What it will do then is send you an email, taking an email to your account that is registered, that you can, reset your account that way. Unfortunately, we do not have the email set up in this environment. But that is what happens. All right. Next time, I guess we could probably have that ready, but it means that we'll have to probably just connect Google API to it to make sure that we have that going. All right. So let's move on from here. We'll just log in with the account for now. Yeah. So what we do have on our account page, right? We have account information. We are allowed to set up for newsletter. Newsletter is basically a subscription, and where we can actually manage from Magento our marketing campaign, right? If we so want to do that, we have our address book. We can have multiple addresses, right? We can as well have club information. So we have the how to put it, the loyalty members, the loyalty club that we are joined to, and we have our loyalty level as well. Now, we also have, in this case, everything that we purchase, right? So if we want to do like a quick reorder, we can just hit the reorder button and it will trigger once the items are in stock. It will trigger that reorder process for us, right? We could also view our orders, right? So you could see that this is what he bought the last time, and we could just go to checkout and move on from there. All right, so that's some of the features we have with the customer account. As well as what you can do is look at our wish list. This is things that you will wish to buy. So there does have that. There are the addresses. We can look at different addresses. We can look at product reviews if any were submitted. We can actually change our status on subscription. And well, there's one other thing is on this point, for some reason it's not showing here, but we can show what loyalty discounts or what loyalty members are offered. So we can see that we have this mix and match offer that is going on for this product. We could go to the category and get our discounts there. We can see member offers if there's any, points offers if there are any, general offers if there are any, coupon offers if there are any. Right, so we can set up all of these things so that customers could get an appreciation for what we give them as loyalty members. All right, and they can see this in all one place. All right, so now let's just go to just do a regular purchase and see what happens. Right, so so far we have some items in the cart. Right, so let's just change this address to something local. Right, I'm just going to say, actually, we could just leave it as this. We can actually add a new address if you want to, but I'll just shift it here for now. Right, let me just close this and just use that. Right, now I can use the click and collect or I can use the flat rate. A flat rate shipping is basically, how to put it, I'm basically charging customers for delivery. Now we can set it up to different tiers, it's up to you how you want to calculate that. There are different Magento extensions that allow you to help, with the shipping. In this case, we just have flat rate of $20. And there's click and collect. Click and collect basically is the feature that allows you to purchase online and pick up in store. As you can see, when I check the ship and collect, click and collect button, what happens is that we have this ability to now search for the item by SO or view it on a map. Now both of them are the same. The only thing is that we basically could see, right, a map layout of stores closest to us, I guess, and just choose which one. So if I click on one, I can now go and check for the availability. As you can see in this case, we actually have one of the items is not in store. Right. So if I want to do this, if I want to do a pickup at this store, this item will not be available to pick up. It will only be the first two, which is a strict rule by Magento, right? Well, strict rule by LSRetail right now. So this is where we'll emphasize using replenishment to allow your stock to be kept up to a certain standard. So I will always recommend using how to put it, replenishment as well in conjunction with your e-commerce deployment. Okay. So in that case, we can't use that though. So we could just probably just say, let's for now just do flat rate shipping, and then we'll just select on some items and do click and collect thereafter. Okay. So let's go ahead. So we're going to say next. Now this is the payment page. Now, as you can see, we have different options to pay. We can use a discount code if we have one, right? Now this would have been tied to your marketing, right? And you could have done a price, Magento type, how to put it, card price rule, right? If you wanted to do so, or you can manage everything strictly through LS Central, right? You can apply loyalty points, right? If we were doing that, and we can say apply gift card if we had a gift card number, right? So those are the different options we can pay with. In this case, we're just going to place order for now. What happens at this point in time? It would have sent me an email stating that this is my order. It would have sent a central message state created the order in LS Central, so your logistics team can pick it up. And I would have gotten an email as the retailer, not the retailer, sorry, as the purchaser that I've you know, my shipment, my items were purchased, and they will be processed and stuff. Right. So now let's just jump into sales orders. So if I go to sales orders, right? Let me see if I can find that. Did it not reach me? Yeah, this is it. Sorry. Right. Okay. Right. So you would have seen. All right. So let me just maximize this page a little bit. Okay. So what we have is our contact, whatever the case is, and these are the items that were purchased, right? This is the location of our web store, so it would have come to this location, or if this was now this could be our warehouse, right? Or it could be a specific store. It depends on how you want to configure your stuff, right? And you can see that it did that invoice wrong because we're using a foreign currency. And a shipment charge. A shipment charge is an item that we would have created that specifies, shipment charges. And these are 3 items that were ordered, right? You can see that the price that actually went through, if I go back to my orders, if I go to sales orders, this was the last one, if I go to view. Right, you will basically see that it is the same. If I could see my right, so my order line, right, and you could say I ordered 2, 1, and 1. All right, and it's the same thing here. Right, so basically what happens is that it actually writes the transaction as soon as it's completed to LS Central so that you can continue and process it. Now, whatever process you have in place to process it, you can go ahead and process it. And what happens is at the end of it, it has LS Central has webhooks connected through the eCommerce, how to put it, extension LSRetail to basically allow you to update your dashboard when completed. All right. In the version that we have, it didn't have webhooks set up yet, but I have set it up for a different customer and it is working. Right. So unfortunately, I can't show that by completing this order to update the transaction, but I could probably update this. This demo site is probably just needs to update a little bit. So what does, as I said, what does take place is when I actually release this, and I can release, it will have triggered how to put it, a message, and updated the ticket itself. So if I go back to my sales order, right, it would have changed the status of this. Instead of pending, it probably would have said processing or something like that. So it would have changed the status of the order instead of you manually changing it per order, right? And once I post and ship and whatever the case is, it will do the same. Okay, so that is basically how you trap an order inside LSRetail for shipping. All right, so that should be a straightforward process. Once that is completed, the customer could just continue shopping and so forth and so forth and so forth. So nothing really nothing different to any other retail website that's out there. Okay. The other thing, which is a little more technical, would be the click and collect functionality. All right. So let's just kind of ring up an order again. Let's just choose distress. Right. Let's just see blue or size pieces, and we could just say check availability in store. We realize it is neither Red Knot's fashion store, and well, I don't know why it's in a supermarket store, but we will take the Red Knot fashion store. All right. So let's continue. So I'm gonna add that to my cart. I just wanted basically go and try on this dress, not me specifically. Let's just say I'm buying it for my wife or something like that. Just going to have her try it on. So because I would want to say that she's one size, but in reality it may not be the same. Right. So let's go to checkout. We're going to actually choose click and collect in this round. We know it's going to be in the Red Knot fashion store because we actually checked that before. I can just say check availability again. And I'm now available. I'm now able to pick up here, right? So I hit pick up here and I hit next, right? Basically, I can finish place my order. Now, we can actually turn off these type of, we can allow no payments at all to online order, or you can take a prepayment. That's a total choice. But the click and collect functionality basically allows you to really pay for the item without prepayment. You can use prepayment, and you could choose not to. We would recommend not to, so that the customer can pay at the store instead of paying online and then requesting refund when they actually reach the store, because it's easy to just do a cancel of that order on any store instead of doing a refund. It's a process to do a refund. All right. So let's just place this order and go through. Right. So I've placed the order. Now the difference with the delivery order and a click and collect is basically placement, right? So what happens is that you now get a customer order, right? So when I created that, you will see the same order created just now. As you notice, the speed in which it came down, right? You'll see the item to pick, and this is the item here, right? No payment was made for this item, right? So this is basically what is a collect, right? So now I can just go into the store and do a receipt and actually release the item, right? So let's do that. Let's actually do a click and collect process. Go through the click and collect process. So let me just jump into LSRetail and just open up on the sale. So two things supposed to happen. there is a notification that actually pops up to say at this point on this button that allows you to say this item is to collect. I mean, let me just see if it's actually enabled by default. Top left, right, the color is actually off. That is why. So it's actually there, it's just that the color is off. Let me just see if I can change the color of it. But I'm not going to fax right now. But what happens is actually there is a button right now that says to pick. What that's basically telling you is that there are actual customer orders for the staff to pick, right? Unfortunately, the color is off, so it's probably just kind of feeded into the background. So it actually does. It takes a couple of seconds to actually notify the customer that, well, the cashier that there are orders to pick. So this is depending on if you have multiple stores and you want to send these orders to multiple stores. There are different how to put it. There are notifications that allow them to be alert to these things. Okay. So in this case, we're just going to pick. Well, we have others to pick, that is. But in this case, we're just going to pick this specific one, right? So what I'm going to do is select it. I'm just going to say pick. I can see the size that they want. I can see whatever they want. I can just see. I can click on it. Decline. I'm just going to hit pick, right, and confirm. Right. Collect a store location. Now this is a point where I could put my notes. But this one, I'm just going to say the store number, right? I can put some notes for it. But so now that it is actually completed with the pick, right? These are the ones that are remaining to pick, right? So and as we have this here, it just means that someone in the background, if I go to customer orders, right? Someone in the background would realize that we have orders here and we're not seeing them moving at all. So there is some sort of ability to monitor what's happening at your stores, if they're actually performing, if they're doing the stuff that they're supposed to, because someone can actually watch this and oversight. Okay, and let's continue. So to collect now, basically I have two items that to collect. I can say, yeah, so he came to collect it. So I say collect, right? Collect, confirm, right? What this will transform to is the bill. I can notice the information for the club and everything is already typed, so I have nothing to worry about. This is type his account and everything, and I can just say process. So let's just go and just do a total, just do a cash payment, okay, and process. That's completed. All right. So now if I go back to my account page, my account, that you should see my two. Well, there's only one order right now. If I just refresh this page, could actually update the other one recently. Yeah. So 16 hasn't been updated as yet, but it will update eventually, right? But yeah. So any transaction that happens in store and out of store actually shows here. The unfortunate thing is that you could only purchase items that you can only reorder items. Sorry, that are purchased online. Okay, that's something I just wanted to mention to you guys. Right? Yeah. Okay, so let's move on from that. Okay, so what else can I demo? Let me see. Let me just use the tester console and sign out of Greg. Private password. I just create my account here. Let me pass it out here. Let me just make some changes quickly here. So as you can see, that it's actually real time. Okay. So if you need to change a customer's loyalty account, basically, it's real time. Once I change anything on the customer account, it happens almost instantaneously. All right. So that's something I just wanted to mention to you guys. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it to see the calculation method of it. But there is. We could probably check it quickly. Actually. I actually do have, right, so let's move on from here. Right, so let's see if this calculates as it's supposed to. All right, let's just do
and then put the things in the box.
pardon. Oh. So let's move on. All right, so let's go back to my account. Let's actually do a purchase. Quickly. Cut. I really like this blue dress though, apparently. At the cut. Okay. Let me check out. So because I'm a first time user, I actually have to set up this thing. Put this somewhere. Now, the thing is, I'm actually just putting nonsense here, but you can actually enforce proper addressing using an extension. Okay, I'm just using some nonsense, but this is something that you can enforce. Okay, some sort of some sort of validation, right? So let me just see. Right, as you can see now, because I'm in a club that actually earn points, actually tell me I'm earning 115 points. So I think it's every dollar you get a point for, something like that. right? So it actually tells me that I'm actually earning some points here by making this purchase, okay? And these points will actually be available once I actually finish the purchase itself, okay? I can't use the points right now. Yeah, I don't think I can use the points right now, but I'll be able to make it after, use it after the purchase starts, right? So if I continue to place order, sorry, please check the shipping information. Oh, I have to enter the city. Sorry about that. City. So we come back into LS Central. Okay. Right. And you can see, well, you will see the orders here, but let me just kind of complete it so we could actually go to the release post. Just click on first click. Two things I want to show you guys before. So let's look at the customer account. And two, what I want to show you guys is the completion of a sales order, what happens there, right? That's a real sales order, a customer order. So let's just look at the customer account as well. Accounts. Right. So let's look at this account. Right. As you can see that I actually have my points calculation here, my point balance, and I can just go ahead and use this, as I see fit based on the calculation methods, right? So that is that. Now, if I'm every completed customer order, so let's just look at customer orders for a second quickly. Right, so customer orders that are open or that are not completed exist in this page, right? So this customer order that we did for Greg, right? Well, this is the older one actually. I'm sure this is the older one. No, oh, we didn't complete this one. We could probably complete it before we move on, right? But once completed, so as you can see, the one that let me just complete this one and just get over it. Like the pick show up actually, as you can see that, look at there. It probably just took a little longer than I expected, right? So it just says to pick, right? So if I go back to, if I just finish, okay, something is actually wrong there. I need to refresh. Okay. That's something that doesn't really happen actually. Posted. So, yeah, this actually came true, right? And this one came true as well. So these are customer orders that were actually completed. All right. Yeah. That's so great. Okay. Okay, so it looked like there's some sort of glitch there. I could actually check into it and see what happened. Unfortunately, that something did break. Not sure what it is. Oh, I know what this is. This is actually the order that we haven't completed. Sorry, let me just complete that. Sales order. Right? I think it is also a customer order as well. All right, so let's go to Greg at this point here. Let's just go to post. Invoice. No, I don't want to see invoice. Right. So if I now go to post the customer orders, right, I will actually see all my orders are actually, and this is where we can actually track and see what's going on with our orders, right? We see that all shipments are completed. This one is actually a click and collect, right? This was a click and collect. So this one was completed outside, sorry, in the front store. So when you post at the end of the day, that will update your sales. This one was an order, right? And as you can see, we did the payments and stuff, right? So that is how this is tracked. Now, if there are different options that we can use for click and collect. We can actually show that a payment is collected. What it does though is actually it takes the payment online. So it depends on how we set it up. This one I actually set up to receive no payment. But if we did, we would have set up a prepayment. It would have shown that it collected a payment, although it didn't collect a payment. And then it would have done a refund transaction and allow when the person pays to put in a line there to show that, okay, it was paid. That's another way we could use to track, or for you, if you want to use some sort of reporting, you can use that as an option to help filter some of the reports. But there is, unfortunately, in its rawest form, it doesn't have a report to specify sales that occur on Magento. The only way you can probably get that is through the dashboard. And that is once webhooks are connected. Right now, they are not connected, so you wouldn't even see an update unless we manually change every order to see if it's completed. All right. So once the webhooks are connected, then we have no problem with looking at a quick view of the dashboard. But I think if you want to have a successful management, I think a report is necessary. So that's something that even me, who works on this relatively a lot, have to get a report down to some customers. So that is like a deal breaker for some people. So we need to get that report set up. All right. Besides that, that is basically the majority of what occurs. I could also just demonstrate quickly discounts, but I guess it's literally the same thing. It basically calculates. So let's look at an item that has discounts. So loyalty. Let's see what programs I have. Okay, so I have. If I go to product. Let's say buy three. Let me see what it was again. I didn't read properly. Right. So I can see my example t-shirt for buy three and receive 10% off. Buy five and get 15% off. Right. So let's just buy three. So I'm just going to the product. All right. So let's see. The green option to style. Doesn't really matter at the cart. Right. I'm just going to do three different types, right? But at the end of the day, it should work the same, right? One at the cart. Now let's look at the brown or blue. 548 S2. Right. Now this S2 that you're looking at is probably just the code. What you'll probably want to do is it will be nice. It will be, I guess, nicer to show images because there are ways you can actually change this to like a color picker, a size picker, a style picker as well. You can probably look into that, right? And let's just add this to cart because I mean this code itself, I have no idea what this S2 is, right? So now if I go to my cart, right, you notice what's happening here. I actually get my discount of $3.50 or 10% off, right? And the reason why this is because it's actually calculating tax outside of the item. Now we can have tax calculated or embedded into the item. So that's that's just an option. Choose a way that you can choose to manage your business as well, right? We just have VAT or tax, calculated outside. Okay. Okay. So if I go to checkout, if a price change is made, it will check the updated price because there is cart price validation. So I go to, I'm just going to, I could just say checkout, thanks, right? And I get my 10% discount, my 10.5, right? So you can see out of everything, now I do not get discount on shipping, okay? So did I get discount on shipping? It looked like I did get discount on shipping.
Yeah, there's a discount.
There's a discount on shipping, right? All this guys. Sorry. Right. So there is a discount on shipping, right? We can choose to turn off that as well. Okay, it depends on how we configure it. And that is it. I think should be everything that I touched on. I'm not sure if I have anything else I want to. I mean, I'm free to answer any questions that you guys have, but that's basically the integration that from Magento to LSRetail. Right. So I welcome all your questions. Punish me as much as you can. Any questions at all?
All right, so if there are no questions, what we'd like to do is just open up the floor for anyone who would like to see a personalized demo. We'd be more than glad to facilitate that request, and you can see something that's probably even more tailored to your situation. Yeah, so at this point, I'll switch gears and hand over to Caroline.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you again, Joseph, for that presentation. And thank you for your time in building it as well. Much appreciated.
No problem.
And once again, as I mentioned before at the start, the webinar has been recorded and we will send it out to all attendees in the coming days. And if anyone, once again, has an interest in acquiring the solution we presented today or any other products of interest that Davyn has offered to you in the past, please reach out to us via email or Miguel or myself. Or you could give us a call at the office directly. All of our information is on our website, davyntt.com, and we can always take the necessary steps from there. So thank you again for joining us.
Caroline, before you go, I see Michael has a question regarding if the turnkey solution facilitates multi-company.
Yes, it does. Well, actually, let me just say it like this. All right, before I say yes, it does. When you say multi-company, how do you mean? Is it that you want to have multiple websites, or is it that you want to have one single website with multiple stores? How you want to do it?
Okay,
you can open up and talk. He can speak if he can.
Yeah, he can speak.
Yeah, you can speak if you want to, or we'll just read the text.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can hear me? I thought the mic was on disabled. Okay.
No, you're okay.
I'm good. Okay. Yeah. Single website, multiple stores, but many of the stores are a different entity within LS, so it's a different company altogether.
Yeah. So the thing is, let me just kind of just go back into here and show you what's happening, right? A quick setup, right? So this is basically telling me to have a new version. As you can see, this is a quite old. This one is Magento 2.3.4. Magento has reached a 2.4.4. All right. So we need to update this, right? All right. So let me just go back to my LS configuration, right? So to answer your question, there's one thing, right? Okay. There is the default setup for one store, right? But one store in Magento can be set up. One Magento installation can have multiple websites or multiple stores built in, all right? But if you want to have a full sync through multiple stores, each store will have to be its own website, okay? That way you connect them via basically you'll have different stores set up, and basically you'll want to have your secure URL, whatever the case is. This is your service. So that one service could actually handle multiple stores, or actually different services, or something called a multi-tenant will allow you to have multiple websites. So if I go to, let's just say, let me go to, which part am I going to? Multiple stores, right? So if I go to stores, I go to configuration, right? Actually, it's right here. I need to. So yeah, this is the point here. So I can actually create a new website, right? Which is basically my default Magento installation, and I can create a new website, which is technically, and this is the recommended setup, right? Which is technically related, right? It's just that it's the only thing that is different is that it's not going to share the same cost, right? If I create a store, it does share the same cost, but the problem is that if the items are not the same, I run into problems. So if I have a different menu or different look and feel, I can have a different look and feel, but my menu must be the same, my item products must be the same in order to create this different store, right? So it depends on how you want to do it. All right, so you can have a different store, you can have a different website. If you do a different website, you can basically tag another company to that website and have no interaction with the other one, and so forth and so forth. Right. So that answers your question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any others?
Oh, right. The differences between the open source version of Magento and the Adobe, because I know Adobe bought Magento.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
A while back. Is this the open source version that you're demoing right now, or this is the?
Yeah, that's the open source version. So the only difference really is some of it is a B2B feature and price. So there's a little bit of a management of it. So if you're using the free version, you manage it yourself. There's no performance pullback or anything like that. Both of them operate the same in that way. However, the e-commerce version, not the e-commerce, sorry, the commerce version, or the one that is hosted by Magento, is they manage it, so they update it, they make sure all the security is handled and all these other things, and as well as the price tag. There is a price to pay for it, right? Because you're using their cloud services.
Right.
This one, you basically managing it yourself. There is no overhead. Every overhead is your headache. You are updating it yourself, everything like that. So it's really it's basically, and there's also one more thing, which is a B2B feature, which allows more business to business management at the back end. Okay.
Business to business management. That's only for the paid version.
Yeah, the paid version, correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I think those are the only questions I had.
Okay. No, good questions.
Thank
Thanks a lot, Mikhail. With the premium version, of course, there's a significant investment that goes towards that. So in a lot of cases, after we have a conversation with you and we have a better comprehension of what you want to do, we normally recommend starting simple with the free version of Magento. And of course, once the sales justify that type of investment, then there's no problem for us to transition you from the free version to the paid version.
Yep.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Awesome.
Caroline, so over to you. Yeah.
No problems. I'll just close it off. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Thank you to Joseph and Miguel stepping in and presenting. Appreciate it, guys. And we look forward to hosting you all again for our future webinars. Have a good day. Stay safe. See you again.
Okay, bye.
Take care, everybody.